is said that somewhere, hidden deep within the fog of Crow's Wood, is a beautiful enchantress. But all might not be as it appears, for the legends go much, much deeper. It is said that the beauty on the outside hides a great and ugly sickness on the inside, and that without the souls of the living to consume, their true form will be revealed. What's that she's cooking? So be wary, travelers, for you have been warned. Hey everyone, it's Area of Effect with another out-of-the-box build. This time a Nightblade, kind of a bomber, kind of a brawler, something in between. Not a sacrificial bomber, you can stick around for the fight. No vicious death, no stealthing or cloaking, which makes this so much fun and so unique. I wanted to release this build before or around Halloween, but some very personal things happened in my life. I lost my brother a couple of weeks ago. It's been very hard for the family, but I'm here, better late than never, and I want to jump in and show you guys this build. Alright, taking a look at the stats now, we're pretty stacked, over 32,000 max health, almost 26,000 stamina. We can get ourselves close to 6,000 weapon damage. Look at the resistances and the penetration and the recovery. Stamina recovery, 3650. Like I said, we are a brawler build. The crit was down in the last bar. We're double two-handed. This bar, the penetration went down about 1,000. The numbers changed, the resistances are the same, but 40% crit on our front bar, our master bar, which we'll get to in a minute. Smoked bear haunch, that's our food. It does depend on whether or not you're stage 3 or stage 4 vampire. If you don't use smoked bear haunch, you can use jewels of misrule if you are stage 4, because health recovery is 0. We are stage 4 here, so technically I could switch to jewels of misrule, but you get a little more out of the smoked bear haunch, even though the health recovery does nothing. But the jewels of misrule are so much cheaper. And also, if you saw there, the Mundus was the serpent for more stamina recovery. We are Nord for more max health, and the frost resistance doesn't really do, in my opinion, much for this build, but I guess against the Warden it's great. Max stamina by 1500, and then ultimate proc, 5 ultimate pretty much every 10 seconds, and more physical and spell resistance constantly. So we went with that for more survivability, more alt gen, more health and stamina. We are also a vampire. Now we want to be at least stage 3 for the undeath passive, reduces your damage taken by up to 30% based on your missing health, but unnatural movement passive only kicks in at stage 4, reduces the cost of sprint, but also if you sprint for 3 seconds, you can become invisible. When you come out of invisibility, you'll get this extra 300 weapon and spell damage, and that is why there is a benefit to stage 4. So I did say no cloaking, but we can sprint to cloak, but we're not using the cloak skill. We're using dark cloak, which doesn't make us go invisible. It's basically a heal, gives us major resolve and major ward, buffing our resistances by 6,000, and minor protection. Jumping into the gear now. On the back bar, the Maelstrom's Perfected Maul, Nirnhone with the Berserker Glyph. After you activate Critical Charge, or one of its morphs like Stampede, you gain a Barbarous Lust for Battle for 18 seconds, increasing the damage done with your direct damage attacks by up to 560. It presently says 423. We will maximize this with our Berserker Glyph proc and Sea Serpent's Coil, which we haven't gotten into yet, but lunge on him with Stampede. And now you've got this for 18 seconds, Barbarous Lust. She's very lusty. Then the other, well, let's skip to the monster set first. Prior Theoric's Guise, weapon and spell damage is the first trait. Dealing direct damage within an area of effect ability creates a 6-meter shadowy whirlwind, which you saw that red whirlwind. They take damage in the whirlwind. 1,300 physical damage, but also enemies in the whirlwind will take 5% more damage from your area of effect abilities. This is going to buff just about everything we're doing, and we're going with this for a reason. But first, our next 5-piece set, or I guess our first 5-piece set, Rushing Agony. Now this one's kind of popular, but stam recovery, weapon and spell damage, offensive pen. When you deal direct damage with a blink, charge, leap, teleport ability, like Stampede by the way, you're going to pull all enemies within 10 meters to you. After 2 seconds you explode for almost 9,000 damage, but when you pull them to you, you do not give them CC immunity. So you could then stun them, fear them, whatever. We've got the Druid's Sash for that one-piece max health. We went with light for more penetration and crit chance. And then on the necklace, we've got the Sea Serpent's Coil, a mythic item. We got it protected for more resistance with the Stam Recovery Glyph. If you don't know how Sea Serpents works, at 40% health, or at full health, you get 40% damage reduction. But then once you get hit, you gain Serpent's Rebuke for 10 seconds. Basically, Major Berserk, increasing your damage done by 10%, and Major Courage, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 430. Now, just like the Druid's Sash, we had a trainee ring right there, so we're double dipping into our one-piece max health traits. That's how we get our health up to 32,000, which we wanted to keep it high in this build. And then finally, one of the keys to this build, the Master's Maul, Precise, getting us up to 40% crit with a double dot poison, increases the direct damage cleave deals by 1550 for each enemy in its cone. It's an AoE, cleave is. So with the Maelstrom's Perfected Maul, we lunge on in, we gain the additional 560 per tick, then we gain the additional damage from the Master's cleave for every enemy in its cone. We suck all the enemies in with Rushing Agony to bring more enemies into the cone. And then with Prior Theoric, which you saw the red whirlwind, they're all taking 5% more damage from AoE attacks. So there's right there's Prior Theoric, that red whirlwind, and he's standing in that. So after the lunge of Maelstrom with Stampede and then cleaving with Masters, we're just like double and triple and quadruple dipping into damage, direct damage buffing. And like I said, this is a single target, but the more targets, the merrier. All right, jumping into the skills now. On the back bar, Proximity Detonation, you arm yourself with a magical bomb that explodes after 8 seconds. It's only 2,000 magic damage on a single target, but each enemy within the bomb's radius increases the damage by 100%. You charge it up, there's a timer, 3, 2, 1, and it's going to go off. At that point, you'd lunge on in right there, and or even a second before, and time, line up and time your burst. Next skill, Resolving Vigor. It's a stamina costing heal, 18,000 health over 5 seconds, but this could crit on our front bar with 40% crit, so it could be well over 20. But it's also going to give us Minor Resolve and Minor Ward, increasing our physical and spell resistance by almost 3,000. Stampede, this is the skill that's going to work very well with and couple with Maelstroms. We launch across the earth, we lunge in, 5,000 plus damage. It's always a crit strike to everybody in the area, and then it's going to proc not only Prior Theoric, the monster set, but also Rushing Agony. Bam, right there. The next skill, it's Shrewd Offering. This is a magic costing heal. It heals us for almost 12,000 health instantly, and it drains for a couple of small ticks for 2 seconds. But we got that burst heal right there if we're in a pickle. The next skill, Dark Cloak. We talked about this earlier. Almost 2,000 health every second for 1 second, or every 1 second for 5 seconds. It's actually 6 ticks because it starts at 0. It increases by 150% while you're not moving. It scales off your max health, which is great because we have over 30k, so it's going to be pretty decent. And then it gives us minor protection while slotted on any bar. It's going to apply to both bars. Veil of Blades, we don't really use this ultimate, but you can basically make a huge AoE, almost 5,000 damage every second, reduces the speed by 70%. You and your allies get major protection, and also offers a synergy for an ally to heal over 30,000 health. Now on the front bar, the Master's bar, Brawler. This is the skill that works with the Masters. So you'll cleave in front of you, dealing 6,400 physical damage to a single target, but the more targets in the area, like I said, the damage is going to stack up with that extra bonus modifier from the Master's weapon. But it's going to stack up even more because we lunge on in with Stampede. We get the Maelstrom Lust buff, and our cleave, look at 13,000 on a crit from a single target. This is kind of where it's at. You know, we don't have to go invisible in vicious death. We have proxy, we have rushing agony, prior theric, we have the master's cleave, and a lot of other things going on. Now we have camouflage hunter slotted for the spell crit, and weapon crit, major prophecy, and savagery. But also if we hit somebody from the flank, sides, or back, we get minor berserk, increasing our damage done by 5%. So just have that slotted there. The next skill on our master's bar is Impale. It costs magicka. It deals small damage up front, you know, 4,600. But if they're below 25% health, it's an executor, and it deals a lot of damage and from a ranged capability, which you can see it in the clips in the beginning. Actually, the 4-man kill, the last one that I snagged, was ranged with Impale. The next skill, Rally. It's going to give us our major brutality and sorcery, our weapon and spell damage by 20%. Also gives us minor endurance, increasing our stam recovery by 15%. And it's a heal, 4,000 at base, but then the longer it goes, the longer it lasts, and then you proc it again, or even just let it time out, and you're going to get a big juicy heal from that skill. The next skill, it's imperative Mass Hysteria. Summon a Dark Spirit. It's basically our fear, 5-second stun, fear, and everybody afflicted with it gets major cowardice for 12 seconds, reducing their weapon and spell damage by 430. That's pretty big for your entire group, by the way. So with rushing agony, when you lunge on in and suck everybody to you within 10 meters, if you don't have an ultimate ready, then you could just cast fear, and everybody is stuck in front of you, feared for 5 seconds unless they break free. But it keeps them in that spot, allowing you to cleave away with the Master's Maul. The ultimate, by the way, Soul Tether, costs 168, ravage nearby enemies, basically almost 12,000 damage base, and then you heal for half of that damage, you stun them for 4 seconds, and then in the area, you'll have a tether connected between you and the enemy, which I'll show you here. Lunge on in. Bomb, there it is. Now you'll see a red tether. That tether is going to heal me, and if there's 5 enemies, 4 enemies, 6 enemies, you're going to have multiple tethers healing you continuously while you cleave away, which, by the way, the skill cleave that we use also increases our shield that we get from it with the more enemies in the cone. So anyway, again, always the more the merrier. Looking at the blue tree, Occult Overload, Oblivion damage, that's going to be when somebody dies. It's going to help us with the whole burst bombing technique, especially in Cyrodiil, but not in BGs. These CP trees do not apply in Battlegrounds. Master at Arms, increasing our direct damage by 6%. That's pretty much everything we do. Fighting Finesse, increasing critical damage 8% and critical healing 8%. Okay, jumping into the red trees now. Sustained by Suffering, 150 health, magicka, and stamina recovery while under the effects of a negative effect. That will be constantly in PvP. Rejuvenation, an additional 90 health, magicka, and stamina recovery, but you don't need to be under a negative effect. It's just constantly. Fortified, 1,700 plus armor. That's going to increase our physical and spell resistance. And then the last one, Boundless Vitality, an additional 1,400 max health. And this is what's going to keep us well over 30k. If you like this setup, by all means use it or tweak it to your liking. And that's going to wrap up the CP distribution and also wrap up this build video. If you like this build and you want to see more, head on over to my channel. I've got plenty of more content on there. Builds of all types, stamina, magicka, healers, tanks, damage dealers, hybrids, and crazy stupid stuff you're not going to see anywhere else. It's all out of the box. So yeah, don't be afraid to leave a comment. Let me know what you think, what you would do different. Please leave a like and subscribe. Share with your friends. And as always, thanks for watching. Area of Effect, signing out.